Witness Sports.
Welcome to the latest edition of 002 with Mark Dondero. All right, Mark, plenty to get to as we tape this on a Wednesday. We start with the Patriots, of course. Let's look back to the Seattle game. A good game, but they lose. Controversial play calling in the end. What did you make of the game? Was it a bad loss, and did you agree with the goal line stand play calling there?
Well, it was absolutely a bad loss. You cannot lose a game. I know Seattle is a good team, but you cannot lose a game at home off of a bye when Seattle is coming off of a short week. Can't have it. Can't happen. The Patriots, Bill Belichick, can't have it. So it was a bad loss. As far as the play calling at the end of the game, well, first of all, the overwhelming theme was the poor defense. The defense was brutal. So that was bad. The overwhelming theme at the end of the game was the play calling. And I don't like fades. So on fourth down, I don't know how you call a fade when there's a play that you have to have. They have to have it, and you call a fade. A fade is like a mini Hail Mary. It is a chance play.
Yep.
It is not a guarantee. It's you hope your guy gets it. Now, it's easy for the quarterback. I could throw a fade. Just step back and throw it. I don't like that. I think they should have come with a more. And if they were trying to not score, I am not on board with that at all. Score. You can run a play where if you don't score, the clock continues to tick, but you got to try to score. You cannot try to not score.
I agree with you that the defense played poorly. I don't think it was a bad loss. Seattle is a Super Bowl contender, and Matthew Slater said this the other day in the locker room. Seattle, like New England, will be ready on 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days. So cross country, they went up a lot against the logistics of playing in New England, but I don't consider it a bad loss. Hate the play calling on the first and goal because I asked Tom Brady, I said, were you guys trying to eat up time or score? And he's like, yeah, it was situational football, a.k.a. go for a yard, don't score, and eat up the clock. It's easy to say that in hindsight, but like you said, don't get cute. Just get in the end zone, run your best plays. I think, the LeGarrette Blount run was a legitimate play. The Brady fumble was unfortunate, but I hate the fade call, like you said. It's more of a 50-50 proposition, maybe 60-40 because you have Gronk out there, but do some bump screens and get Edelman out there, something. Run the play they ran in the Super Bowl where Edelman just takes his guy and does a quick out. I don't know, something that's not, Gronk who was on him? Earl Thomas?
No, it was Chancellor on that fourth down
Cam
play.
Chancellor, so he's a good defender, so that's,
But
listen, that loss is going to kill them. NFC game, they're still tied for the best record in the AFC.
The one thing I will say, just to put a bow on this, is I pick the Patriots to lose 3 or 4 games every year, 13-3, 12-4.
Right.
And then I'm always surprised when they do lose.
I know.
So
They have to lose some.
So they're going to lose a few games. It's a good team. That's okay. They are not playing a good team this week, though. The 49ers are really bad. They've lost, 8 in a row?
8 in a row.
So what do you expect going on the road from the Patriots in this one?
I think they're going to have plenty of motivation coming off that loss. San Francisco, as you mentioned, has lost 8 in a row. I don't think they're a bad team. They're getting better. They hung with Arizona. Kaepernick doesn't look as mediocre as he did earlier in the year, but they don't have a lot of firepower. They run the ball a lot, but they're not going to score a whole lot of points. I think the Patriots finally create some turnovers, and the offense is just going to roll over the Niners. This stuff about Belichick saying, the Eagles beat us last year with Chip Kelly, that's a totally different team. Just because the coach is the same, the personnel is different. Like, if you asked Bill, hey, the team that beat you last year isn't the team that you're playing this year, but it has the same coach, he would look at you like you're a moron. But he's using that as, I guess, the only way to motivate his team is, hey, Chip Kelly's team beat us last year, but this isn't going to be close. Patriots win double digits.
That's a reach, this whole Philly thing, like you said. Last year in that game against the Eagles, they gave up a punt return for a touchdown, a blocked punt for a touchdown. Brady threw a 99-yard pick six.
Brutal.
It was an aberration. So, I expect them to go out there and dominate, to try to crush San Francisco. This game shouldn't be close at all. They're going to be angry. They're going to be ornery. And they should be, because that loss, I think, was bad against Seattle. So it could be, I'll buy a little bit what you said about they're not a bad team. They've lost 8 in a row. So they're not a good team. But they can play, they can hang with some teams or whatever. It's the NFL. You can't just dismiss people. But this is a team.
They're not as bad as Cleveland.
No, this is a game, though. Now, is Tom Brady going to be distracted? Because I would have liked to have asked him that question today. Not distracted, but he's going home. He's never played at the stadium of the team he's rooted for. He's got a lot of family out there. I don't think he's going to be distracted. But there might be some other things that come into play that aren't normally there. But I think the Patriots win easily.
I think Brady would have rather made his debut in San Francisco at Super Bowl 50, but that's a whole other
100%.
story. All right, interesting NFL note that kind of cross-pollinates with the Patriots is Tony Romo yesterday had a press conference acknowledging this is Dak Prescott's team, and my days are numbered in Dallas. Similar to the situation in 2001 where Tom Brady replaced Drew Bledsoe, who was the franchise quarterback. So Brady acknowledged this last week, Mark, when he said pretty much anyone can lose their job in the NFL. So what do you think? Do you think Brady sees the situation in Dallas, his own situation, as part of the Bledsoe deal and kind of says, this could happen to me if Jimmy G, if not someone else?
Yeah, but this is certainly not a wake-up call or anything like that. Tom Brady knows the deal more than anybody.
Right.
He lived it 15 years ago, and he's always known it. Even before he got into the NFL, he's always had the chip on his shoulder about wanting to prepare, be the best teammate, be the best player he can be, and always win his job every day. So, yeah, he sees a little bit of the situation. He could see, maybe he'll say, well, if this ever happens to me, do I want to come out with a prepared statement? Do I want to make any comments? Do I want to just go like Bledsoe? Did he come out with any kind of statement?
No.
He talked to the media. I remember that quote about, like, I look forward to the chance to win back my job. But Tony Romo with a prepared statement, I appreciated the words that he said, and I have a lot of respect for him. I don't think I would have prepared a statement. That's more of a retirement thing for me.
Yeah,
Not I lost my job and I'm making some comments about the quarterback that's going to play now.
Romo could end up in the Jets next year, somewhere else.
Could.
You know, he may be done with Dallas. This isn't exactly new news to Tom Brady, but just another reminder how, delicate your starting job is in the NFL. But I think at the beginning of Deflategate, with Jimmy G looking good after 2 weeks, a lot of people were saying, hey, Jimmy G sooner than later. I used to think Brady wouldn't end his career in New England. Now I'm changing course on that. I think he will. Yeah, I think, assuming he doesn't have a complete fall off the cliff moment in the season, I think he has a good 3-4 more years, and he and the Patriots agree. I think he's too big for it to be a Belichick decision. I think it's ultimately a Kraft decision. I think everyone wants him ending in New England, so I think that works itself out. But obviously something that happens every day in the NFL.
We can get into that discussion about the Brady, when he ends, where he ends, another day. But interesting. Okay, the Boston Celtics, as we switch to basketball, some struggles. They've been without Al Horford. Are these struggles for real? And how did I word this here? Are they getting serious? How concerned should we be as they linger?
I guess you can't really take stock of how bad the struggles are until Al Horford is back, but it's not good. The Celtics won a lot of games last year where certain pieces to their puzzle missing. And I think even without Horford right now, they're just not getting the defensive effort and efficiency they were a year ago. And I think the guys coming into the year were probably a little high on themselves because everyone was tooting their horn about the Celtics. Let's get Horford back, let's get Crowder back, and let's kind of figure this thing out. I think Stevens is a good enough coach. It's not encouraging, but it's not the panic meter time.
This Al Horford thing, I know he got hurt, but it's a tough look. You come in here, you got the big free agent kind, now you're hurt, and you got a lingering concussion. It's just disappointing. Again, he's hurt. He's got lingering symptoms. Were they high on themselves coming into the season? Well, it sure looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit? Well, I don't know why, considering, you had no chance to win the NBA championship. 0% chance. Zero. And you're high on yourself.
And they won 0 playoff games.
So I don't understand where that came from, but it does look like they have been a little, little too cool for school on defense, and that has resulted in losses.
Yeah, we'll see. Listen, 82 games. It's November. I don't think the NBA matters till after Christmas.
Of course it doesn't.
The other winter sports team in town, the Bruins, right now, they're not in action until Thursday, but after some goaltending issues earlier in the year, I think they went through 4 goaltenders at one point. Tuukka Rask has shored things up. Do you think he can be the goaltender that allows the Bruins to be relevant in the playoff contender this year?
Absolutely. I definitely think he can keep up play that allows him to get into the postseason. The big question for Tuukka Rask and he's regressed, so now we're asking different questions. But the big question for Tuukka has always been, can he carry you and be the foundation of a Stanley Cup winner? That's always been the big question. He regressed. He got so bad we started asking other questions. And yes, he has proven he can take you into the playoffs if he can stay healthy. You know, that was obviously a concern. He's been hurt. He's been nicked up. But he can bring you into the playoffs. We'll answer that question for now. He's been playing great. Can he carry you to a championship? That's another question for this late winter, spring.
Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of the day, anyone can win a Stanley Cup with a good goaltender, a hot goaltender. So if he can be good enough to help the Bruins get into the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time in 3 years, then at that point you like your chances if he's riding high. So, yeah, you know, what's the goal? A good goaltender wins you probably a handful of games you wouldn't have won ordinarily. So do I think he can keep it up? Not at probably the clip he's been playing, but good enough to help the Bruins, you know, be towards the top in the Eastern Conference there.
All right, so the URI Rams, let's go to basketball, college basketball. Is that the next one? Yeah, it is. Okay, they're going to Mohegan Sun. Big early season, I don't know what you call it, a tournament, more of a
get-together. The Hall of Fame tip-off.
The classic, yeah. So they're going to play teams like Cincinnati first, potentially Duke. What can they prove this weekend in Connecticut?
All right, so as we're taping this, they're going to play Brown tonight. They'll beat Brown.
Yeah.
They play Cincinnati Saturday, who's the number 23 team in the country. That in and of itself is a big win, a top 25 win, because URI isn't going to get any ranked opponents via the Atlantic 10 the rest of the way, unless Dayton or someone else hops in the top 25. So that's a quality win. They play Duke. They beat Cincinnati, and Duke beats Penn State. They play Duke. They beat Duke, the number one team in the country at the time. I mean, that is essentially a win that can get you into the NCAA tournament, assuming your A10 schedule is above average. You play above average or at least good. Because on Sunday, Selection Sunday, when they say quality wins, and it says Cincinnati, number 23, number 1 Duke, and the rest of your resume speaks for itself. So huge opportunity for URI. Obviously, Duke lost to Kansas last night, but when they play, they'll be the number 1 team in the country. So enormous for URI. This is the year they're getting all this pub, all this praise, deservedly so, and a win over number 1 would just kind of be the icing on the cake, even though it's still November. But assuming no injuries and they kind of stay the course, they should be good for the NCAA tournament.
I like what you did there. You kind of went big. You know, they could get into the tournament this weekend, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with you. If they win this thing, they could get into the NCAA tournament this weekend. Before Thanksgiving, they're in. Because they're not going to, you know, just flounder in the A10. They're not going to just, you know, be a disaster. They're obviously going to win some games with the teams, barring some kind of injury situation that we don't want to mopey Dan.
Right.
So I think if they win this thing this weekend, this classic, this tip-off, they'll get in the NCAA tournament. But at the least, they'll kind of get on the map. You know what I mean? If they can play with the likes of Cincinnati and obviously Duke, URI, they're ranked, they're 21st, and now they're battling. They just beat Cincinnati, and now they're beating Duke. People will start to take notice. Obviously, that helps recruiting. It helps the profile. It helps the resume or whatever. All that. So there's a lot at stake, and the best part, they're sort of playing with house money.
Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, nobody expects URI
I think
to do
Cincinnati
much.
game's a toss-up game. They're both 21-23, and then the Duke game, you're not supposed to win. If you win, great. And it helps their strength of schedule. They need to get to Sunday because that Duke game really helps their strength of schedule.
It's exciting. They've earned this kind of opportunity, and I can't wait to see how they handle it.
All right, and finally, we have our 2 more. Geez, we've got a stack show today.
Well, you wanted to talk about this.
High school playoffs this weekend. At the beginning of the year, they kind of changed the format, so Hendricken in Division I and LaSalle would be in different divisions. As it stands now, should they win, they'll both meet in the finals like projected. Does this kind of validate that? Is it good that it'll be Hendricken and LaSalle, assuming they both win this weekend, or is it kind of the same tired routine here?
I mean, is it good? I don't know. Yeah, it's good, fine. Like,
you were at the first game.
Yeah, Hendricken, I think, will win. I know LaSalle got angry at me. I don't blame them. But Hendricken's going to win. Is it good? I mean, I wish there were more good teams. I'm sorry. Like, I wish there were more good teams, Jan. There aren't. And we get Hendricken and LaSalle, and it's going to be, I would hope.
Now they have to beat Portsmouth and Central, respectively.
I hope, I love Hendricken. I love the class of the program. We deal with the coaches there a lot. But I root for some
Yeah.
For some parity, don't you?
Yeah, want
so
some parity.
I would like to see something like that happen, but I think Hendricken wins, and then Hendricken wins, and that's
So
what
you're
happens.
saying Hendricken beats Portsmouth,
Hendricken
and then
beats Portsmouth, and then
LaSalle.
beats LaSalle.
I probably agree with that. Yeah.
I mean,
don't
is it
see-
good? Is it
Portsmouth,
good?
I think, gives them a game. I don't think Central gives LaSalle a game, and then it's those two again. That's for Division One, and
Is
then
it-
Central and Portsmouth would play in this bogus consolation de facto state championship game, which is silly.
I mean, that's just insulting to call that.
It's a third place
To call
game.
the third place game a state championship situation is insulting to those teams. It's insulting.
It's the pink hat of championship.
I
games.
can't even stand it. Move on. Or the last one, Tom Brady's commercial. It premiered today, I think, right?
Foot Locker.
Okay. We don't have it. We can't show it right now. But what did you think of the commercial? And were you surprised at all that he was poking fun at the Deflategate?
I thought the commercial was good. It was short and sweet and funny, and Brady, I don't think he was acting. I think those were his real emotions that he got railroaded by the NFL.
I hope
and
so.
I like that he did it because he pokes fun at himself, but he also puts out his point of view. That being said, he got paid to do it. So he'll talk about getting railroaded because he's getting paid for a spot, but he won't talk to the media about it. So tomorrow, when he gets asked about it and doesn't want to talk about it, he needs to because he drummed up Deflategate by doing this commercial. None of us in the media
Well,
did.
yeah, but how many times have we seen? I mean, look at Bill last week. He was the one that brought all this Trump stuff to the forefront,
Right.
and he didn't even want
So
to
if
take
you
a
bring
question.
it to the forefront, you need to
Wow.
talk about
See,
it.
yeah, that would be theoretically
I
the way.
thought it was a good commercial. And I haven't thought about Foot Locker in 20 years, so I think it's good marketing on their part. They did one with Carmelo Anthony and Ja Rule, the rapper. A little bit surprised, liked it, liked
Too
Brady's
soon?
acting. No, I think it was a nice jab to the NFL. Obviously, Foot Locker isn't in bed with the NFL because they would have axed that one.
Yeah.
But it's a nice way to kind of poke fun at yourself while also getting your message out there. I thought it was tasteful.
I would love to know, and I love the commercial, but what I would love to know is kind of behind the scenes, who came to whom with what
Apparently,
idea.
and I read this, Foot Locker gave him the script and he said, I like it.
Okay, so if that was the case, okay, that's fine. I didn't really care. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady certainly seemed all in. I liked, obviously, how he pokes fun at the Deflategate because
Right.
that shows you're kind of not taking yourself too seriously. And at the same time, you know, you can air a little dirty laundry.
Yeah.
You can get some stuff off your chest. But hey, I'm just acting, but I'm not really acting.
Yeah.
So I like that. And the other thing I love about the commercial, obviously, was how he was giving his order and eavesdropping at the same time, perfectly eavesdropping, heard every word they said. I just love that. The great Tom Brady.
Also, he was eating a salad and drinking water. No one goes to a diner and orders a salad and water. You're getting like onion rings and a Coke.
Well, you know his diet. I'm not going to go
He
there.
doesn't eat tomatoes because they cause inflammation.
Yeah, that's true.
So he orders a Western omelet without tomatoes.
It would have been nice to hear what he had to say about that. I do hope he addresses it at least.
Yeah.
I mean, he could just do what he does with his Facebook post, kind of just give the smile, and be like, "Yeah, you guys like that."
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. So we'll see.
So yeah, we'll hear Tom Brady's thoughts tomorrow. That'll do it for this episode of Double OT. Catch the episode in full online, WPRI.com, and on our social media at Mark Dondero, at Yianni Caracas. We'll see you next time.